Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and with my ranked season done for me, having made it to rank 1, I'm free to jump back into random battles. I always just plow through ranked and get it done. Took me like 160 games, which is a lot to do in just over a week, but it gets it out of the way. I no longer have to think about it now for 4, 5, 6 months until the next season begins. So this actually was just inside of me finishing it. I think I was at rank 2 when this was, but a buddy hopped on in the form of BoomBoomZoom and was like, hey, want to play some random battles? And I was like, yes, that sounds like a nice break. However, I felt like driving a couple of my tier 7s, one of them being the Blyskawica. And the main reason is, I really thought I would drive this a ton in ranked, and I did to a point. But with so many radar ships being around, the 8-kilometer torpedoes really don't allow you to effectively contest as much area. So I swapped my sims for the 9.2-kilometer torpedoes just to have that area denial, and it meant the Bliss didn't get driven as much as I'd hoped. So when BoomBoomZoom readied up in the Kiev, it was an easy choice to match it with a equally deadly destroyer in the Bliss. Now, Two Brothers always presents a bit of an oddity, and you can see we've even got a couple aircraft carriers in this match. We're top tier, with some tier 6s and a couple tier 5s. But this map always devolves into such a weird fight. Because sometimes you'll get a pretty even split, which you can see my team has split up pretty even. There's 3 battleships, a destroyer and cruiser going one way, and we've got 3 destroyers, a cruiser, and 2 battleships going the other way. So the even split can work really well if the team that runs into a bigger enemy force holds back. Now, from what our planes have spotted, the enemy team looks to be committing pretty heavily to pushing towards D. So this force on our side that's going to D cannot afford to go charging in there and get themselves killed. They've got to give those of us at A a chance to win this. So we come against, so far, a couple battleships. Clearly there's a destroyer somewhere. It's just not spotted yet. Now, I started firing my guns because they don't scare me. When I took a quick peek at what they have, theirs are all torpedo destroyers. So I'm not super concerned. Now you can see me checking my shoulder because I wanted to turn out. Having been spotted and driving in a straight line, I didn't want to drive into torps, and unfortunately I drove into Boom Boom. Realizing I'm stopped, I pop my smoke, eager to just sit and contest this cap. Now you'll notice I'm backing up. I never sit stationary in my caps. Unless I know there's no chance torpedoes are coming away. I always like to be going forward or backwards a bit, just so you have some ability to maneuver. And almost spastically, I'm just searching around, making sure there's nothing I'm missing. Now with A secured, we're up 2 caps to, well, now 2 caps. We're down a ship. The DD that went charging into D got destroyed. So it's put us in a tough situation. Fortunately, so far we haven't seen that destroyer from the enemy team, and it's just been this Bayern in Colorado, and at these kinds of ranges, those ships aren't hitting myself or Boom Boom, and we're just pretty much free to rip them apart. We're on comms with each other, and it's all HE. We're trying to light fires. I finally got one after the first 37 shells, and I'm just eager to get a second. I want him to use that damage control so that we can just restart them and then he's gonna burn. Well, that is until I see the Moss. Or sorry, not the Moss, the T-22. And that becomes my primary focus. I've already got engine boost going. I make a straight line to head him off. Getting rid of that destroyer is crucial to my friendly battleships pushing up on this side. If they're worried about a potential torpedo threat, they're not going to push. So me being nimble and a destroyer, and one with a lot of guns for that matter, I have to hunt him down. I continue to work over this Bayern on the way because we've almost got him dead. I've already done 23,000 damage, which is very respectable, and I make the decision here to go north of this island. And the reason is, had I gone south, I might have blocked my shots at that Bayern. Additionally, I kind of almost corner myself into a single line of approach on this T-22. And I don't want that. I want to be able to maneuver. Now, while I still fire, you can see the T-22 pop smoke. I'm going to keep working this Bayern. Sure, I can shoot at the T-22 in the smoke. I'm not going to hit him. He's not shooting at me. He probably should be shooting at me, but he's not. He's seemingly content to just try and hide. And when you've got a higher tier destroyer running down on you, you have to try to do the damage you can. Now you can see I go to turn. I make my decision how I'm going to attack, and some friendly torps wind up blocking my path. And I always hate when that happens. If you've ever got a friendly destroyer ahead of you going into smoke, do not fire your torpedoes because it limits what they can do. Now, either way, it doesn't really matter. I saw them, I dodged them, it's fine, but I would have liked to have attacked in the direction I really wanted to there. And it really just came down to me thinking about which direction he might be facing, where torpedoes could be coming from. But either way, he's dead now, I'm capturing Charlie, and that Colorado is all that's left here. And at first, I'm kind of thinking, I can't think about that ship. The target really needs to be these guys at Delta. Things aren't looking too bad for our team. We're only down one ship. We've got the caps. You know, I definitely am going to cap Charlie. I realize I could have smoked up. I was a little overconfident here. With me knowing the Cyclone has already started, in my head I go, it's a couple seconds, 8 kilometers it's going to close in. They're not going to be able to see a thing. I'm just going to shoot. I'll drive around and shoot. And that's fine and dandy. If I had actually kind of paid enough attention to what my display ring is. Sure, the Cyclone started, but it hasn't started closing in yet. It takes a little time after the start of the Cyclone for that visual range to drop. Personally, I wish it were not the case. I wish the second that timer hit 0 was when the range started closing in. But it's not. So we've captured Charlie. We just lost our aircraft carrier, which puts us at a bit of a disadvantage. Not as much in the Cyclone, though, because remote target spotting doesn't help your team as much. If you're not inside the 8 kilometers, you can't do damage anyways. A rather lucky volley there on that Colorado. 2 fires in a singular volley, and that's going to count because he has to let it burn or put it out, and it looks like he's letting it burn, which is just sacrificing his hit points. Now, my thinking is, he knows the Cyclone started, the vision's finally closed in, he was probably trying to get to the edge of detection. And what you're going to see here is kind of one of the important things. I pointed to it yesterday about destroyers needing to spot for the other ones in the smoke. You can see Boom Boom, 4,900 hit points. He's a little lower than me. He pops smoke. He's in trouble from that Colorado. So I decide I'm going to stay out. I'm going to detect. I've got the eyes. It keeps him safe. Now that being said, I'm not being reckless about it. I do drive behind Boom Boom's smoke to temporarily break contact on me. Fortunately, we've got another destroyer in a Holy Diver. So between the 3 of us, you can keep a couple safe at any given time with only one sacrificing to spot. And you can see Holy Diver isn't really shooting. They're firing torps off, but until that point there, they were basically staying dark, letting me and Boom Boom do damage while they safely detected. And that's one of those things you really have to coordinate, especially when you're destroyers. Now things are not looking good for us. The trio of us have run up, we finally got that Colorado, but our team is down. I have no clue what's going on in chat. You know, the enemy team, all chat turns into a bit of a mess for the rest of this game. You know, they're talking about an AFKer, but I never saw anyone on their team AFK as we drove through their spawn. I mean, there was the Bayern and the Colorado. Both had driven up. And you can see me asking, and then they accuse, I think, one of our ships saying, it's yours, but I've got no clue. Either way, we're down pretty significantly on points, but we still have 2 caps, so we're not falling further behind. But this is gonna be a fight. Simply because you can't afford to sit back. We have to kill. And we have to kill quick and hard. The Nagato's lined up. I've got smoke. I'm going to pop mine shortly here, pretty much once this enemy cruiser gets spotted as well. The Nagato's not lined up at me. He's focusing on our battleship. So that gives me and Boom Boom freedom to just rain HE down on him and just try to do as much damage as possible. Our Bayern will definitely chip in big amounts here, but it's all about working them down. And with each kill we get, we bring ourselves a little closer to staying alive. You know, I talked yesterday about doing in your head kind of the cap points. So what do we got? 4 points every 9 seconds. So call that 4 points every 10 per cap. They've got 2, we've got 2. But they're getting 8 points every 10 seconds. So that means in a minute, they're getting 48 points. And that is very quickly going to run us out of, you know, just space to play the game. The shores get spotted, and I pointed out to Boom Boom. He kind of goes, ah, crap, launches all those torpedoes, and, well, at least takes the shores down with him. I really wish Boom Boom had survived because we needed that point gain. We needed the exchange for killing an enemy and not losing an ally, and ultimately we didn't really get it. Helped a little bit just because I believe cruisers are worth more than destroyers. So we got a 5-point shift out of that. Or sorry, 10. But you can see the enemy team is capturing Alpha, and that for the first time means we're going to be at a deficit on points, you know, per tick. And we have no clue where any of their ships are. I think they've got a pretty good idea of where we are, but all I can do is try to charge through D. My plan is to go through D straight into Bravo. We just have to keep circling, capturing points, hoping to run into some of their forces. And fortunately, we do. Find a New York. So I turn, trying to figure out how to get all my guns on them the best way possible. And I want to get closer, because I'm trying to get to a kind of range that I can launch torpedoes and just nuke them. I've got my smoke going, and I'm basically going to lead my torpedoes right as I disappear into the smoke. Because that works both ways. You know, as long as I was driving forward, I had him spotted. Now fortunately, I do have ally spotting. Once again, our Farragut, holy diver, doing a great job kind of supporting the team. Torpedoes are looking alright, but the New York is a very quick and maneuverable little boat. Or ship, I should say. Boats are submarines. Or things that go on the side of ships. And the New York dodges all my torpedoes, so now it's just a gun battle. 30 seconds from now, I'm going to have more torpedoes, but this probably isn't going another 30 seconds. You can see the enemy team. They're coming to about 160 points, and they're capturing Charlie. They're in behind us, and that could spell our doom. Killing this New York is going to make a big shift, and I'm pretty confident we're going to get them. More importantly, our Bayern and that Farragut are both on pretty decent health. The Farragut's now, 4,000, but he's not dead. And I was going to launch my torpedoes there, but I decided not to when I saw him under 5,000 hit points. Guns are just as quick. And then it's time to get going again. We've got Delta, but for that entire time the New York was driving through it, we weren't getting points for it. So while ultimately we've managed to close this point gap a little bit, we're still down. And this is the first time we really break up as a group. I'm still charging forward to B. I have no idea what's up there, but it's a cap that right now they're not contesting. Maybe I can close it. Meanwhile, Holy Diver is turning around to go contest C. And things are going to get hairy because they're going to be all alone. They're not going to have backup. They're going to have no means of protecting themselves. And, the enemy's got some pretty dangerous ships. That Shiratsu has great detection. 5.8 if it's full conceal. Can walk all over the Farragut. The Cleveland can rip things apart. The Congo is probably the best tier 5 battleship, if not just tier 5 ship all told. And they've got a carrier, who fortunately I run into. And that is going to be major. But there's two things at play here. I cannot leave this cap circle. We need it. We cannot afford to be sacrificing points to them. So I initially maneuvered down to try to close, and now I've just got to parallel their course. And I'm going to have to be very careful throughout this engagement that I stay close enough to detect that independence, but don't leave this cap until I've got it captured, which is another 22 seconds away. Fortunately, my HE does some serious damage, and each volley is almost 1,500, 2,000 damage. So 10 volleys, 50 seconds, he's dead. And that's assuming our Bayern does nothing. Pick up my high caliber there, and finally get the capture, which means now I'm free to chase. But I have to keep in my head that I don't want to just chase south, because if I drive too far away from Alpha, I put us in risk. Basically what I'm counting on here is that killing that carrier is going to shift the points enough that we're pretty much tied up. Then I'll be able to turn into Alpha, contest the cap long enough to put us ahead because there's only 2 minutes left in the game. And this is getting close. I can tell you I am not feeling comfortable. Fortunately, get another fire, bit of RNG luck in there, and another one. He's going down. That is certain, and that is massive for our team. Pick up the kill and Witherer. I'm up to 152,000 damage, which is absolutely insane for me in this ship. Normally, a good game for me is about 40,000, maybe 50,000. But the Bliss can certainly do it, and as you can see, we're pretty much tied. And we're no longer falling behind, but their tick comes a few seconds before ours, meaning that with the minute 12 left, we're going to lose. Now, you can see our destroyer. He's running. The Farragut, I think, has it figured out. I'm starting to type into chat right now, like, we still have this. Just stay alive. I just have to touch A for a few seconds, and we'll go ahead on points. And there's only 50 left, so we keep alive, we win. The Cleveland doesn't even scare me. I'm not going to shoot at him. I don't care about him. It doesn't matter if he's in the cap. By me being in that cap, he doesn't get points. And then I see Holy Diver say he's about dead, and I'm like, oh no, I'm about to get into the cap. This is going to seal it for us. And I could have sworn we lost there. Even in TeamSpeak with Boom, I'm like, that is a heartbreak. But then the screen popped up. I'm like, holy crap, we won. Holy Diver got the kill on the Shiratsu, which just boggles my mind. But maybe the enemy team knew we had the potential to win it from out from under them. Either way, 526,000 credits, 10,000 XP, Witherer, Arsonist, high caliber, 151,000 damage, 3 kills, and just an absolute crap ton of shots fired. I managed to pick up 3 of the caps, 1 solo, and ultimately just shy of 2300 base experience. And I'd like to pretend this was all me, but it's not. It never is. I wouldn't have got the damage in there if it wasn't for Boom or Holy Diver spotting or even, our Bayern. They all helped win this. And ultimately, that's what these games are. And why I like World of Warships is, yeah, a really good solo player can do a lot, but they can't do everything. You have to rely on your teammate. And I think that's part of why ranked is so frustrating for so many people, is because you go to rely on a teammate and they do something stupid. Fortunately, in this game, no one did, and we managed to walk away with the win, and I got almost 500,000 credits, 10,000 experience, 14,000 more for my Commander XP pool. I'm not even sure who I'm going to dump it on, but it's definitely nice just building up an empty pool that I can just click a captain to 19. I think I've got 4 or 5 now up to 19 that just generate experience for the rest, and I definitely love that new feature. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys tomorrow.